So the last few days I've been feeling some anger, which is a pretty rare emotion for me. I don't feel it very often, and it's kind of hard to navigate. I don't really know what to do. So today I decided that I would be out here in nature and take you with me. I'm in front of a really beautiful river right now, and I'm sure you can hear it in the background. And so what I decided is I wanted to bring you out here, and I wanted to dress a candle to release the negative feelings I'm feeling. I know why they're coming up, and I feel like if I set an intention and, flow through it, it'll be pretty helpful for me. It's also the second day of Scorpio season, so this is my season, and yeah, I don't know, everything's crazy. It's always really dark during this time. Literally, like, the sun is setting and it's like gonna be 5 soon. Yeah, it's a dark time of year, and I really like it. It feels good for me, but at the same time it brings up really heavy things, and you just gotta deal with them sometimes. So I wanted to do that, and I also wanted to tell a scary story, a paranormal story from my childhood that I thought would be pretty interesting, because I'm gonna upload this one as a Halloween kind of episode. So I figured witchcraft and paranormal stuff is kind of the perfect way to do it. So I have my candle here. It doesn't quite fit my candle holder, but this is it. There are some people that have been occasionally walking behind me. I don't know if you'll see their feet and stuff, but I I feel a little weird because they're all older people, and I don't know, I just feel like they're looking at me and they're like, what is this person doing? Maybe they're not. Maybe they're looking at me and they're like, that's cool, I'm gonna do that. But I don't think it's that one. Okay, so yeah, this is the candle. I'm going to anoint it. I'm going to write on it, and I'm going to burn it at home. I'm not going to do this spell here. I'm not going to do the spell on camera because I don't believe in doing that. I do think I can show you guys how I dress my candles up. So I'm trying to find a place to put it, and I'm like I'm afraid of it falling over. I'm gonna put it on my bag. So yeah, let's start with it. So basically, what I have with me as tools is this crystal. It is used for protection for me, quite literally. I brought it on the bus one time when I was going from Calgary to Vancouver, and it's pretty sharp on the top. And I was like, if anyone hurts me or scares me, because I've had some really scary incidents on trains and transit, I'm like, this isn't technically a weapon, but like, don't get close. Just for protection, literally, and magically as well. I didn't have to use it, which I'm so happy about. I don't want to use it, but anyways, that's mostly a joke. I wouldn't do that. Well, anyways, I have this for protection. I'm also wearing tiger's eye for protection. This is my go-to. And then just for fun, I'm wearing this moth. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a taxidermied moth that I got from Ravensvale in Vancouver, like on Commercial Drive. It's pretty cool. It was pretty expensive, but I got it during the Witches Walk a few years ago, and I wanted to support them, so I did. But yeah, so I'm not sure where to put you. Maybe I'll put you... Can you hear me? I feel like you can hear me. I'll talk a little bit louder. So, I also have salt, and I'm going to just pour a little bit of salt around me, again for protection. I'm doing a banishing spell, so it's good to have protection whenever you're doing a spell of any sorts, especially if you work with deities or other entities, which I often do. So it's just a good thing to block that energy. I've had a few times where I have literally had demons. I know this sounds so insane, but I've had demons show up in my friends' dreams after doing certain crafts, and they knew it was me, and they were like, Mava, what did you do? And we had to clear it. So always use protection with everything you do. Literally everything you do. So, I don't have any oil. I was supposed to ask my roommate for oil, but typically would anoint the candle. I was going to use cedar oil. Cedar is good for protection and good for banishing from what I've worked with it. However, I'm just gonna carve into it. I don't have a proper carving tool because I forgot. However, I do have this pin that says, "To hell with the Beatles." And I think it's really funny because I love the Beatles, as you know. And I'm gonna use that to carve. However, I'm gonna clear with it. I should have brought smoke. I bring, I do have some tobacco, but I like to cleanse with incense. Smoke is a good cleansing. I also am near water, but for now I'm just gonna use a bit of salt just to cleanse. I'm also gonna put intention. So a lot of the craft is about intention. You're not just gonna like throw a rose quartz somewhere and be like, oh, it means love. Like, no, girl, you need to like put intentions into what you're using. And I think that's what makes it work. It's all intention based. You don't need anything special. You don't need any like special things, as long as you have your intention. But it is good to, I think, play with it. I think using something physically helps in my experience. So we're just gonna use my Beatles pin and carve what this candle is going to be burned for. And again, mine's banishing. I'm getting rid of something. So we're gonna kill something right now. So I'm just gonna write, what exactly do I want to say? I'm not gonna share it. I don't want my intention out there, as it feels very personal to me. So, really wish I had a pen right now, but this will hopefully do. It's working. I wonder if this is catching my breath and you're like hearing me breathe, because I breathe a lot considering my lung function isn't very good. Or I'm wondering if you're hearing my heartbeat or if you're hearing the water. I really don't know, as I can't hear this back until it's done. But again, let's hope it's like the water and not like my breath, because again, I breathe pretty heavily. Okay. So that took a minute. I might have to cut that down a bit. But this is also turned into a bit of a return back to sender spell. Just get that energy out of my life. Get out of my life. Thank you. So we've done that, and now I want to describe the herbs that I will be using. I don't think I'm going to put the herbs on the candle today, as I don't have my oil, but we have basically all of this is going to be, as you know, used to remove these negative energies, and that's what all of these herbs have in common. What I've learned in my practice, as well as watching The Witch of Wanderlust, who I'm sure you know if you're into this stuff, you have to tell the things you're using what you're using them for. You have to tell them their job, their instructions. So I have blessed thistle. None of these have been opened, which is really great. I haven't had to send any energy back. I haven't had to do any negative energy work pretty much ever in my life. So it's kind of a blessing that I haven't had to use it. However, sometimes you need to use it. So this counteracts negative energies, and it also has protective qualities. So that's that one. Then we have nettle leaf, and it is used for reversal of defensive magic and removes evil and unwanted energies. We have pennyroyal. This is to rid negative thoughts and soothe uncomfortable situations, which is great because I am rid with like uncomfortable feelings right now. And I'm like, get out of my body, get out of my body, get out of here. You're not welcome. You're not allowed. Sorry, you're not allowed. St. John's wort. This is with negative influences and inspires courage. Again, it is purification, protection, and wards off evil. Those are the herbs I'm going to be using on my candle. So essentially, I'm not going to do it here because I don't, again, have my oil to anoint it with. But essentially what you would do is you would take your candle that you have just inscripted in, telling it what it is doing when it burns, and you're going to be rubbing the entire candle with the oil of your choice. You could also use olive oil. It doesn't have to be an oil that necessarily connects to your intention. However, I find that helps. And you're going to cover it in the herbs. You're going to just like massage it in after putting the oil on. And then you burn it. This is a pretty large candle. So oftentimes when I use a big candle, I will burn it slowly throughout a week or throughout a month. Occasionally, if I'm feeling like really up for it and I'm like, I need this gone now, or I need to create something now, fire always works really well with me. Every single time I've ever manifested or cleared something, it's been with fire, and it's almost instant. If you want something to come to you fast, or if you want to remove something fast, fire is your best bet. If you want something a little more organic or flowy, maybe you want water. If you want something more that grows with you, maybe you want to use earth. I've never quite used air element before, so I'm actually not quite sure how that would affect your manifestations or your spell work in general. But I've always used fire. I'm an impatient person. What can I say? So yeah, I was going to do a whole thing out here with it. However, again, I don't have all the tools, so I'll be doing it at home, which I think would be better anyways, considering anyone walking by, I feel like already seeing this setup, plus like a burning black candle with inscriptions inside of it, might not look so good. It might not feel that great for them. I'm a liar. We're gonna dress the candle together in my house because the sun is now gone and being outside makes no more sense, at least for this kind of content. And that means I have the cedar with me. The reason why I stopped filming down there, even though you could tell it was sunny enough, was because I ended up meeting this person out of nowhere who like came by with their dog, and we just like literally talked for a super long time. So by the time we're done our conversation, the sun was down and I couldn't. Hi, Moon. I couldn't finish my video. So this is perfect because we can dress the candle together. And if you hear any little noises, any footsteps in the room, it's Moon. He's just... That's him. That's the noises he makes. Let's anoint the candle together. Also, if I sound out of breath, I am out of breath. I'm out of breath. Why? I couldn't tell you. Oh. I couldn't tell you why I'm out of breath. I just am. Because I have... Oh my god, he's so active right now. I love Moon. Okay. That kind of works, I think. And we're good. Okay. One thing, looking at myself for the first time, like, in a video. Hi, Moon. Now I know why all the kids and everyone that meets me is like, are you goth? I do look the part. But goth is a music genre. And I don't listen to goth music. Sometimes But as you know, that's not my main. Anyways, just looking at myself, I'm like starting to understand. Okay, so here's the candle. We have my inscription on the back that I will not be showing. And I'm not going to light it right now, but I'm going to cover it in the cedar oil. So again, you want to put intentions into everything, right? You want to just tell it what it's doing. It's so funny hearing Moon in the back. I wonder if you can hear him. You want to tell ASMR. Does that work as ASMR? Anyways, you want to tell it what it's doing, right? You want to have those intentions pretty clear. The clearer you are, the more easy it will be for the spell to listen to you. Okay, so now that it's been anointed, we're going to use the herbs that are in my bag. There you go. So, see if we can like ASMR this. Oh my god, my hair is on it. Okay. Does that do anything? I can't hear it. We will check back when this is over. Okay. So the pennyroyal. So I'm going to add my intentions as I dress the candle. I've realized now that I'm going to make a mess. So let me get a plate. I will be back. Okay, we got the plate. And now it's time to put the pennyroyal on. So because I'm doing intentions, I'm going to be quiet so you can't hear me. So I'm going to probably skip some of this part unless you can like read my mind. That'd be weird. Don't do that. But read other people's minds and let me know what they're thinking. Anyways, so I'm going to just do some intention work. Do you hear Moon? Okay. So for me, when I instruct it, a good example would be, I ask it, like, please allow me to rid these uncomfortable thoughts. You know, that's a good, very simple task you could ask the plant. I wasn't going to use that one. Okay, so this is Blessed Thistle. Blessed Thistle is a ground plant with holy reputation. Makes sense by the name. A powerful herb to help when you need to focus on your energy on counteracting jinxes or deflecting negative energies. Blessed Thistle is a bitter masculine herb with a strong protective quality and intention. So I'm going to be using it for counteracting jinxes, deflecting negative energy, and protection qualities. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask it what it needs to do for me, or what I would like it to do for me in my mind. And that's that. Now we have St. John's wort. St. John's wort can be used to protect against a wide range of negative influences and inspire courage. That's kind of beautiful. Traditionally, it has been used to ward off evil and is for purification within the home. St. John's wort is known for a power herb that can inspire an infusion of energy and feeling tired or drained. And then my last herb is nettle leaf, or stinging nettle, which is really good for pesto. Don't ask me. Actually, you can ask me. Yeah, it's really good for pesto. Stinging nettle is an ancient herb of protection and healing. Nettles are used in reversal and defensive magic to remove evil. Nettle leaf can be burned or drive out negative energies or unwanted energies. Other uses include stimulating courage, aversing anger, and winning arguments. I need to reverse this anger, so I'm also going to be using it for protection and removing evil. Okay. So this is what it looks like now that it's been anointed and dressed. It's a nice little candle. So I'm going to put it on my other candle. No, you know what? That one's too far. We will put her on my altar. And I would probably move her later. Now, the good part. I mean, that was a pretty good part too, but the fun part. Pull up a chair, bring some tea, maybe some popcorn. We're going to talk about a scary story or a paranormal story. Not really that scary. This is a paranormal event that happened to me when I was about, I think I was 14 or 15. I was in high school. And it's a good story. Like nothing super scary happened, but I'll just get into it. So, when I was a lot younger, I lived in a house where there was a lot of spiritual activity, and it was honestly both extremely comforting and extremely scary at times. Our house was known for having energies. I remember my parents' friends would come over and they'd be like, sometimes in the middle of the night we'd wake up and we'd hear 20s chamber music in the living room because people would sleep on the couches all the time. Not all the time, but like when they stayed the night. They would also say that one of the cars in the driveway would start like flashing its lights and honking. A lot of the neighbors would say that. And although I didn't experience that, that was told to my parents all the time, that they would just see this happening. And my parents were like, yeah, like there's really not much we can do about it. And it was just kind of like, for me, it felt like it was pretty well known in the house that that's just like, there was just some weird activity that would happen. My little brother and my dad are a lot more like agnostic. They don't, or like atheists, they don't really believe in anything. I don't want to like entirely speak on them. Like maybe they've changed their minds, but that's kind of how I perceived it growing up. But there were a few experiences with my dad. Like I remember one time we had a neighbor who had passed away, and there was some like weird energies happening for a while around us after he had passed. And I remember one time going downstairs and seeing my dad and his friend, who I think was our neighbor, and my mom and some other people around, and they just kind of had this like really weird face on. And I remember asking them like, what's going on? Like I was so curious. I was pretty young. I was like, what's going on? What's happening? And they kind of were like, I guess they were kind of like looking around like, should we tell her? Is she too young? Like, what do we say? And I remember they decided to tell me, and I remember my dad just being like, you know, we saw the ghost of Peter. And Peter was the man who had passed away. And I remember being like so curious, and I was like, where? Like who? Like how? And they're like, we saw him in the backyard. He was walking by. And I don't remember having much of a reaction to it other than like ultimately curiosity. I think I must have been a little bit scared, but I was mostly curious. And then when I was around 14, 15, I remember seeing this shadow on my window pane. And in Ontario, it gets so cold that you have like a double window pane that's not really, it kind of, no. I've never really seen that in BC. I could be like having the worst memory ever, but basically we'll have like two windows. So one that you can move, then another glass window that you can move, and then there's like the screen. So in between those two glass windows, you can stick your hand in there. It's like pretty much closed off. But in between those two window panes, there was this frozen human hand. Like not the actual hand, but like a handprint. Oh my god, it scared me so bad. And it was like a child's hand. It was so small. I remember it was like maybe like this big. It was so little. And I lived on the second floor of my house, and you could not climb up there. It was impossible. So it was really scary seeing this, and it was almost like this handprint. You know when a room can get steamy because like the outside's cold and the inside's warm, and it's like you can like draw a picture, like a heart or a smiley face in there. It was like that, but on the outside of that window pane with the hand. It scared me so bad. I remember telling my friends and I remember telling my mom, but ultimately there was nothing I could do. And because I couldn't erase it, I can't get my hand inside there. And also, like, no one can climb to the second story to do that. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So the hand was there for a few days, I remember. And it really, really, really freaked me out. But ultimately nothing was done. Nothing to be done, right? So then I remember my mom around that time was having panic attacks and like sleep paralysis, and I remember being really, really scared about that. I don't really think that correlated too much to this spirit that I'm talking about, because it felt very playful to me, but there was a lot of sleep paralysis that was happening to my mom, where she felt like these demons like suffocating her, which was really scary. And I've had sleep paralysis since, and it definitely feels that way. But I don't think it was related to the spirit. But I remember she would go to work. She worked in like a group home, and sorry, my roommates are talking. She worked in a group home, and she would see this like being watching her from outside the home, and she would scream at it. She'd be like, "Leave me alone, like stop following me, I don't want you here." And it would eventually leave. Like, my mom doesn't have any fear of these types of beings. She's very like, I'll just yell at them. Like, I'll just yell and they'll leave, which is true. Like, that's what I've noticed gets rid of them, is like screaming at them. But I don't think that's like the nicest way to do it, especially depending on the spirit. And then my dad, this one I definitely think was that same spirit that I mentioned with the hand, because it felt like a little trickster, a little jokester. It just kind of felt like it was trying to say something. And so my dad would like hold things, typically plates or or cutlery or things like that, and they would drop. And they wouldn't just drop, they would like fly out of his hand, and they would like land in a distance. And I remember kind of being like, even I was like kind of brushing it aside, and I'm like, you know what, it's probably because he's getting a bit old. Maybe his reflexes aren't as good, maybe it's just harder, things are slipping out of his hands. But like, no, it's never happened since, and it never happened before. And he, as like this atheistic, agnostic person at the time, was even like, there's a ghost and it's playing with me and I don't like it. And honestly, we would as a household get in fights over things that this like entity was doing. I'm not even kidding. Like, it was so weird. So after a while, after many fights, many frustrations, many scary little things that would happen, I decided to reach out to my friend Lilia, who I had mentioned in another episode. And her parents are really connected to spirit or the invisible. Her mom, I like to think of her as like a medium, and her dad is a 6-dan concho in karate, 6-dan black belt concho in karate, and he's just very like attuned. So I remember her saying that she would talk to her parents about it, and I was like, okay, cool. So I remember like waiting around that day. I remember the sun was like going down. It was like a summerish day or spring day or something. It was like kind of warm out. And I remember she finally came to me and was like, okay, we figured it out, and like, they're gone now. And basically what they had come to the conclusion of is that this was a little boy went to the water alone one day and drowned and died and came back to the house. And I guess like time works different in the spiritual realm. Like, I'm not sure, but he returned, and what he returned to was our family. You know, we're not his parents, we're not his siblings, we're not these things that he's used to. And so in order to get our attention, he was leaving hand marks and pulling things in my dad's hands and just being generally like a little bit messy. And so they had been able to pass him to the other side, or just help him like get rid of this trap that he was in this like ghost body in our house. And ever since then, I remember my dad never dropped anything ever again. No spirits were following my mom to work. No, no scary handprints in my glass window ever again. So that one was very, very playful and just trying to get our attention. But also it was very like, it like involved the entire family, which was very funny. It felt very like silly paranormal activity kind of. And then another ghost that was like in our family for a while that I hadn't even realized existed. Basically, how it started was this woman. Okay, oh my god. Okay, I'll just explain what I experienced and like how I found out this. So I was in my room. This was 9th grade, I believe, and I remember texting my old online friend and just like whatever, having a little good time with her, and I had like my BlackBerry or something. Anyways, my dog and my cat both entered my room, and I was like super stoked because like these are my pets. And they come into my room, and I remember my dog was like barking and like acting really strange and like whimpering on my bed, and my cat was kind of like staring in this corner, like where my desk was or my dresser. And I remember feeling this like really weird sense of panic, but also around that age too, like I was really anxious and I kind of always assumed the worst. So automatically I'm like, oh my God, there's a ghost or there's a demon, like I'm gonna die. And so I look over and I immediately see one of my dresser drawers open up very slowly. It could have been a screw missing, I don't know, but I saw that happen and I immediately freaked out and turned my back. And I'm not someone that likes to put my back to the door. I don't like that. It is scary. If a serial killer comes in, I am vulnerable. So after realizing what I had done, I immediately turned back over and I saw, oh my God, it literally gives me chills still. I turn over and I see this woman's face with this cloak, this black veil cloak staring at me. And I immediately scream as loud as I possibly can because I'm freaked out. Like, oh my God. It was so scary. And so I'm screaming as loud as I can, and my mom hears me from her room, and she runs into my bedroom, turns on the light, and she's like, what's happening? And I was like, I just saw this woman lay beside me who has this black veil or this black cloak. Like, she's really scary. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, I don't know what to do. It feels like she's still here. Like, I'm really scared. My mom laughs. Girl, why are you laughing? I gotta know. But why are you laughing? She wasn't laughing because she didn't believe me. She was laughing because she knew the ghost. She knew the spirit. And she was like, oh, she's harmless. She's harmless? Well, she's scary. I'll tell you that much. She is scary. Basically, when my mom and my dad and their best friend Vince were in Toronto as kids, or not kids, I guess like my age, they all lived together in this apartment. And I forget what the apartment was called, but it started with like an A. And it was like on the street that started with an A. So my mom and my dad and his best friend Vince are all living in this house when they're around my age. And there was this stairwell in their home that I don't know, I guess it was like newer into the house or something. I'm not quite sure. But basically, my mom would always see this womanly figure with this veil and this cloak walking down the stairway, but like not down the stairs, like into the stairway, and then she'd disappear. So my mom would see this and she was like, I don't know why, she told me she never told anyone in the house, which I'm like, the first thing I would do if I saw a ghost in my house is I would tell someone. I don't know, she just does things. So she said that she saw this ghost multiple times, and at the very end of their lease, like when my dad and my mom were moving out on their own and Vince was going to move somewhere else, they were like all drunk one night and they were like just talking about things, and my mom's like, have you guys ever seen the woman who walks down the staircase or around whatever across the staircase? And my dad and Vince were both like, yeah, yeah, we have. Like, no one's talked about this to each other, which is crazy. Like, why aren't you talking to each other? So they kind of had all seen this woman. My mom was like, yeah, like, I think she follows me and your dad around. Okay, well, that would have been like really cool information to know before this happened. But anyways, so I guess she's nice. I'd never seen her since. I remember my mom just being like, leave her alone, like she doesn't want to see you. But yeah, it was pretty scary and I didn't like it. I have a lot of other ghost stories, but I feel like they're not really appropriate to tell in this context because a lot of them are very like traumatic and intense, or ones that aren't like quite my story to share. But yeah, those are some ghost stories for you. I also have I have some others that are more like not necessarily ghost stories, but just like embarrassing stories or stories that are a little bit scary. I can probably tell them in another episode, but I think I'm gonna conclude this one. It feels pretty chill. I don't know. But I will finish off with some, what was it called? Report. I will report. So, the R in report. What am I reading? I'm not reading anything. I'm sorry. I haven't found a book or anything that I'm really interested in since the last episode. So sorry. I've not been reading anything, but I have been watching some stuff. As I said, I watched The Substance, and I'm rewatching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina because it's just a really good show to watch this time of year. I'm also watching Sweet Pea, and I have to say I don't really like it that much. I just find it really predictable and a little bit boring. I'm sorry. But I like Ella Purnell. She's a good actress. And then, what am I eating? I made this huge batch of coconut lime fish soup, and it is so good. Oh my god, it's what I've been eating just like the last few days because I made a pretty big batch. I also had sushi today, and I feel like I've been eating Ben and Jerry's before bed. It's been nice. What am I playing? What am I playing? Let's ask my laptop that holds the secrets to my Spotify playlists. So I've been listening to a few things. One of the first things that comes to mind is Everything is Romantic remix with Charlie XCX and Caroline Polachek. I really like Caroline Polachek a lot. I went to her concert in 2023, like May 2023, and it was so good. I love her voice. She does like vocal backflips, and she's just like a very experimental artist, I feel like, and I really appreciate experimental kind of music. I'd say FKA Twigs is kind of like that too. She just like does her own thing. But okay, I'm gonna talk about the Beatles for a second. I know, please don't click away, please. So I've been listening to the Love compilation album, and I think this is my favorite album. I actually I shared a story the other day on my Instagram about how I listened to this one song. It's the Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite version of Love, and I literally started like crying on the bus. I cry over them a lot. I might need to like get help for it, honestly. I just love them so much. But anyways, listen to this and tell me you wouldn't cry. It just made me feel something. So I'm gonna let you in. I'm gonna let you in on it, and you're gonna hear it, and you're gonna get it. Okay, 1 second. Come on. It's so good. Anyways, Lana Del Rey, me and one of my students that I work with were just like making slime and listening to Lana Del Rey for art club that I was throwing on Tuesday. And yeah. Okay, report. Obsessing. Obsessing. I'm not quite sure what I'm obsessing about right now, honestly. I feel like nothing's like holding my attention that intensely right now. Obsessing. It is Scorpio season, so I'm sure I will become obsessed with something. But as of right now, I'm gonna say nothing. Nothing's really hidden for me. Oh, are recommending. I'm recommending you listen to the Love compilation album by the Beatles. I'm fucking serious. I'm also recommending Caroline Polachek, if you haven't heard her yet. I'm recommending making a spell with me. Rewatch this back and make a spell with me. It doesn't have to be a banishing spell. It can be prosperity or self-love or something really cute and nice, and less less like get out of my existence. Yeah. I would also recommend this this really good oat milk. I know Nikki did that last week too, but this is a really good oat milk. It's I forget actually. Sorry, I'm not sorry, I'm not gonna recommend it anymore. Sorry. And then tea, treating myself. I've been getting a lot of Ben and Jerry's late. Not a lot. I got 1 pint of Ben and Jerry's, and that was really nice. I'm almost done it. I've had it for like 3 days, and I'm also treating myself with. I'm just kind of honestly. Okay, I got one of my bestest friends ever this beautiful heart-shaped locket necklace, and it's from this brand called Green is Gold, and it's so beautiful. It's a locket with a little like it's a heart shape, and it has a flower like in it, like it's a oh my gosh, I can't talk. It is a dried flower that's preserved in the locket, like on the outside. And so I got myself one too because in this journey now where I'm trying to do the best I can for my younger version of myself, I just feel like basically what I'm saying is I feel like I want to do things for her to make her feel loved and cherished and treasured and be the person that I wish I had when I was a child. And so I want to like have my locket and have baby me inside of it. So I got one as well. They're a little bit expensive, but I did treat myself. It's also my birthday month, and I really should save money, but I go crazy during this month. I'm like, whatever I want, I'm getting. Whatever it is. And so that was the most expensive purchase so far. I know I'm going to get myself a massage, and maybe some other things. I'm also recommending lymphatic drainage because for so long, my face was so puffy and my whole body felt so swollen. But I started doing lymphatic drainages in the face and the throat, and I feel so much more normal again. It's been really nice. Even the one lymph node that's been swollen for like a month, like I can still feel it. It's definitely less swollen than it originally was. But anyways, yeah, this is November coming up is my birth month. So I won't be able to say no to myself. And you know what? I shouldn't have to. Not for that time. Yeah. So enjoy your rest of your day, and I hope you make a spell with me, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed making it a lot, actually. It kind of reminded me of like my YouTube days as well, which I miss sometimes. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.